Hi there, and welcome to my video about the unused rail line that runs between Upfield and Roxburgh Park. It's where the Upfield line meets the Craigieburn line. For those of you who don't know, Upfield is a train line in the suburb of Melbourne, Melbourne, Australia. I was very interested in this section of track. I grew up nearby here, and when we were kids, me, my cousins and my friends would walk this section of track on our days off. This was in probably the late 90s, and I also used to come here to take photos for school projects. Here's some of the photos that I could find that I had left over or laying around. The footage might not be very clear, but yeah, there were smaller images. I couldn't find any of the larger ones. So I've actually gone to revisit this track, and the video footage of that will be following this introduction. So I revisited this track in March 2020 when I hadn't been there for about 20 years. And as you'll see from that footage, the section of track is much more overgrown and worn out compared to the last time I had visited it. So just a bit of history on the Upfield train line. The line from North Melbourne to Coburg opened in 1884, and in 1889 it was extended to Somerton. Somerton being a train station that was just south of the current station there, Roxburgh Park. The section between Coburg to Somerton closed again in 1903, and then it was reopened to Fawkner in 1906, but just for funeral trains to the cemetery there. And then full passenger services were extended to Fawkner in 1915, and in 1920 the entire line was electrified to Fawkner. It was now electrified all the way to Upfield, but the section of track between Upfield and Somerton was never electrified. In 1928, they reopened passenger services all the way to Somerton, and in 1956, that section of track was closed to passenger services, but remained open for good trains or freight trains, and the line between that section of track allowed freight access to all the goods sheds within the area, the main one being the Ford factory, which had recently closed down. I don't know when this section of track was last used for goods services, but I do remember in 1997-ish, there are some carriages still entering the Ford factory. The future of this track is probably unknown at this point, but some plans for Department of Transport or PTV do show this section of corridor being reopened to allow access to potentially V-line services to Shepherd and Albury. And that line, which currently runs through Craigieburn, which services also the train that goes from Sydney to Melbourne and a lot of freight services. So in this video, I was hoping to walk the entire section of track that we used to walk as we were kids, but I actually only made it from the entrance to the tracks at Glenelg Street to the Upfield station stabling. I'm hoping to one day revisit and do the other section, which is from Glenelg Street to Somerton. So this video just up ahead, please excuse the audio as I recorded it as I was filming and it was pretty windy. I've skipped out a few sections and sped up some of this footage, otherwise the video would probably be too long. So yeah, if you have any questions or if you have any corrections to my history of the train line or my rail terminology or anything else you want to add, please put it in the comments below. If you want access to this area yourself, if you want to go visit it and do the walk, the way to get there is via Lisa Place. So I'll show you the map, which is in the suburb Coolaroo. You walk to the closed end of Glenelg Street, and then you continue on through this rugged area, which is being used as storage by the nearby factories, but they don't own the land, so I wouldn't worry about trespassing. There's no signs saying no trespassing, just signs saying no dumping. And if anyone from the factories question you, well, they don't own that land anyway. That's owned by the council and Victrac. So here's my video. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks. So here's getting through to the old Upfield train line. It's not as easy as I was hoping. I'm going to find a pathway through here, maybe. Yeah. This is where I've come from. It's quite rugged. Check the trains. Now we are here. Let's walk up to Ford factory. So you can see here, got narrow gauge and standard gauge together. Okay, my dog with me. The rail line's just up there. I've decided to walk on this side of the tracks. There's an employee from the factory just there who might be asking me what I'm doing. I do have a high vis vest on in case I get questions. Here's the tracks. You can see they split in two here. This one's quite overgrown. It's pickle bush. This one seems still quite usable. So we'll walk up to the old Ford factory here, Ford Motors. This factory shut down around 5 years ago, and this is where they would offload and upload freight for the factory. There's a section of the line did go into there. Dangers of walking around this area in particular is just the snakes that we have around. There's a couple of doves. They're pretty harmless. I'm not sure where that section of track was going to, but we'll follow that later. One's pretty overgrown. This one here, there's a shunting point change or a track change. Do have some blackberries. If you listen closely, you'll hear the frogs. So now here's the main line. This line will go up and you can just see here, this is standard gauge. This one just goes up to join the Upfield train line. It's about 1 kilometre this way. Upfield train station, and we do not have any trains running through here at the moment. This is the rail that leads off the line and went into the Ford factory. And it's quite rugged. So there's two lines here actually. I walk in between them both. You've got this one here that you can barely see, one off to the right. Aim off, come on. Calling my dog back. Try and find, it's easier to walk alongside here. Tracks.
This is a rail bridge, goes over the creek. Let's get a look at the tunnel underneath. Can't remember the name of this creek, but it flows up through Dallas. Somewhere along the line it would join Mooney Ponds Creek, or it joins Murray Creek. Okay, let's keep walking. And we can see the entrance to the Ford factory. The tracks clear up a little bit here. And for the first time that I've ever noticed, this gate is actually open. It had always been shut when I'd come in here in the past. And there were at times there were freight trailers or sections of train Kangaroos, Jesus Christ. They scared me a little bit. Big ones. Let's walk off to the side. Now there's a newly constructed fence here. It's quite new actually. I'm not sure when this is from. But there it is, that's the entrance to the Ford factory. That's no longer there. And these are the freight trucks that run into there. So here you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trucks, and they all come back out to this one line that runs between Roxburgh Park Station on the Craigieburn line and Upfield Station on the Upfield line. Let's walk back along here. We'll walk a bit up the Upfield line path as well. So here I was just wondering, the Upfield line is over there now. Just wondering if there's a way across this creek without having to go all the way back over to that rail bridge. Bit reedy down there, possibly quite full of snakes, but we'll give it a go. It's something I have to carry my dog. Come on, they must stay. Boy. Okay. Oh. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to risk that. Go back. Now this section of track that we're walking up is heading south towards Upfield. There's a section here my dog can get some water from. Not really. There's a tunnel. If you want to go draining. There's some bones. What do you reckon they are? Could they be human bones? Don't know. I'm not going to investigate that any further, but I would say that this is not an unlikely spot to be coming across a dead body. It's Stand By Me-esque.
There's probably other ways of getting out of this section of track without going back through the way I came, but that's the only way I know, so I'll stick with this for now. The Ford factory before, we're having a look at. Attraction of rocks. Stones are worn away here too, so that still feels pretty stable. Probably not enough to support a train though. There's definitely sections of track here would need to be rebuilt and start to reuse this line. There's another section that's worn away.
And again, the sleepers have come out completely here. Bit of loose thing. Just up here. They've got some end barriers, so not sure what these were put in place for, if nothing comes up here anyway. You can see the creek down there. We can see up here, getting close to the rail line, the Upfield station, which I didn't actually think I was going to make it. But I thought it was a lot further than this, but it's actually just here. So you can see the overhead cables just there. A little well there. It'll be easy to fall down that. I might walk off the tracks for the moment. See the overhead cables for the rail line. Some old signalling posts there. Okay, this is a reflector. Now we've reached the end of the train line. The rail bridge over the creek. It's another well. nice section of track now. Here we've got an old signalling post, and this area is a little bit raised than where we were before, so you can obviously tell this used to be a rail line too. It's been dismantled.
So this is just the end of my video of me walking back to the car from the train line. And yeah, so if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I do try to make a video every week. The themes of my videos would usually be rail, train lines, Melbourne, urban exploring, that sort of theme. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments below. Thanks. Bye.